Diamondbolt. Batman and Robin is the fourth film in the original Batman movie franchise that was released across the 90s, though I'm sure is more well known for being regarded as one of the worst films of all time. And yet somehow, before I started work on this video, I'd never even seen it before, which I realize now in retrospect was a good thing. On this perilous journey, we're joined by resident Batman expert Markscaper, who's here to provide some actual thoughtful commentary and discussion, which would definitely be a first for this channel.
If there's a movie that's synonymous with bad superhero movie, it's Batman and Robin. There are countless videos on the internet that talk about this movie like it's the worst thing to ever exist. Whether or not that's true, I suppose we're about to find out.
The first two Batman movies were major successes, with the original 1989 film seeing Tim Burton bringing to the table his own unique and dreary version of Gotham, alongside Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton not being able to turn his head, and the sequel, Batman Returns, which set out to improve upon the first movie by bringing in Danny DeVito.
Gotta fly!
Unfortunately though, Returns' darker tone alienated Warner Bros.' desired audience of children, who were the ones most likely to eat up all of their merchandise, and so they mandated that the preceding sequel was be much lighter in tone. Stepping up to the director's chair this time was Joel Schumacher, and with him came a much sillier and comedic take on what Burton had started. Which of course absolutely no one had an issue with.
And that brings us to its sequel, which was literally made to be a toy commercial.
So I thought we should check it out for ourselves and see if Batman and Robin really is as bad as people would have me believe.
Oh boy.
I'm very excited to show you how this movie starts. You really do have to respect any film that within a minute of beginning already gets you with a full frontal nipple shot.
I love the Elliot Goldenthal theme. It's dark and unique in its own way, whereas Danny Elfman's was like a circus gone wrong. This is more reminiscent of a knight making his way on horseback through a thunderstorm. And this is the movie it's used for.
Don't wait up, Al.
I'll cancel the pizza.
Having recently gone through all four movies of this era, I've gotten accustomed to Michael Gough's Alfred. I think to the Schumacher's movies' credit, they had him be more of a father figure to Bruce than in the Burton movies, and personally I've always been a bigger fan of the more paternalistic Alfreds.
He is very cute in this, I have to say.
Chicks dig the car.
This is why Superman works alone.
Schumacher's Caped Crusader is a little more comedic than the dark and brooding Batman we get so often these days, but if there's one thing I can say about it, is that it's in a way refreshing to see a more heroic Dark Knight. Batman is a superhero, not an anti-hero, no matter how grumpy he may be.
As we've seen already by now, this movie doesn't take very long to get to the point.
Batman, a new villain has commandeered the Gotham Museum. He's turned the security guards into blocks of ice. He's calling himself Mr. Freeze.
Maybe they ought to call Superman. That heat breath would come in real handy.
But Batman is not properly equipped to handle the greatest weapon in Freeze's arsenal. Horrible, awful puns.
The Iceman cometh. In this universe, there's only one absolute everything. Freezes. I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy.
Oh, thank fuck.
You are not sending me to the cooler.
And his choice for henchmen are a bunch of hockey players.
It's the hockey team from hell.
Thank your lucky stars, Batman possessed the forethought to prepare for the extremely specific scenario where he would have to face off against an evil hockey team.
All jokes aside, this looks like a cool as hell ice skating arena. No pun intended. Oh god, it's spreading.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Wait, that's not even a pun.
Stay cool, bird boy.
After being psychologically tortured by ice puns for hours, the pair are unable to stop Freeze from escaping.
So, why are you going to space?
Freeze, you're mad. If this capsule explodes, it'll slaughter thousands.
Hey, at least the consistent ice theme explains what the nipples are all about. Disappointed with their lack of success, Batman drops Robin in a vat of acid. Soon after, we're introduced to our second major villain, Bane, as we see them attempt to speedrun his origin story.
Serial murderer serving life in prison. And now I add my super soldier serum.
Whew, that's a lot of gamer juice.
And finally, Poison Ivy, who for this film has her origin intertwined with Bane, as we see her having your usual interaction with the Redditor.
Sadly, I'm not good at rejection. I'm afraid you'll have to die.
This is all the fault of this mad scientist guy who successfully managed to create two of Batman's most iconic villains in the span of 3 minutes.
Join me. The two of us entwined side by side.
There are
Back at the Batcave, Bruce is already determined the accident Mr. Freeze was involved in because we're just burning through him at this point.
Here's where everything goes north.
That's gotta hurt.
I do like that they're finally doing some detective work. Probably would have been useful before they went after him, but okay.
Obviously tired of putting up with Bruce and Dick's bullshit, Alfred invites his niece Barbara to stay over at the manor with them, which Bruce is perhaps a bit too eager about.
Barbara, I hope you'll stay with us.
For Batman.
Both my parents were killed in a car accident 5 years ago.
Ah, cool, nice to meet you too.
Excuse me, Chief. I got something here you might want to see. I hate when people talk during the movie. Bruce Wayne diamonds. Very nice.
Don't you mean very ice?
The pair then goes to a gala event in an attempt to lure Freeze out, though instead attracts the attention of a much hotter villain.
Then just by being present, she already has the room prepared to donate their life savings to her.
I bid $50,000 for poison ivy. 100,000. And I'm in 5.
Wow, thank you so much for the donation, Plantfucker69.
$1 million.
$2 million.
You don't have it. $3 million.
I'll borrow it from you.
I should have never let Master Bruce make a Twitch account.
$7 million.
A bat credit card? Sorry, I really wanted to do it.
Never leave the cave without it.
It makes sense though. You wouldn't want Batman to use a card that says Bruce Wayne on the register.
This is certainly a scene.
Youth does have its advantages. Endurance, stamina.
Mark, please turn it on.
There's this whole thing where Bruce and Dick are fighting over poison ivy, and it's just so weird because Dick is 20 years younger than Bruce.
Anyway, it's been a bit without any ice puns, so...
It's a cold town.
These aren't even jokes anymore, he's just making basic observations. Looks like you're on the ice. Then Batman fucking kills him.
In a better movie, this would have been an iconic scene.
Freeze is then taken to Arkham Asylum in a in a fridge. Okay, this movie is great.
Allow me to break the ice.
It's alright, everybody, he's okay.
Welcome home, Frostface.
You're the common cold, and we're the cure.
Oh no, their puns were so bad they're actually killing him.
There's also this subplot that takes up a decent chunk of the second act where Robin finds out Barbara's been frequently stealing motorbikes from the manor.
And after deciding to follow her, he ends up on the set of a Fast and Furious movie.
So this is where you hang out.
Upon returning to the manor, Barbara announces that she plans to free Alfred of his eternal servitude, as she finds the fact that he has a stable income and career he enjoys just an utter tragedy.
I'm gonna take him away from this dismal life of servitude.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Alfred, where is my sandwich?
I don't buy this. It'd be one thing if Alfred were a simple servant in the last 3 movies, but it's very clear that Alfred serves as a father figure. He raised Bruce as a kid.
He has always been there for Bruce, even with the rare disease he has that continually changes the appearance of his face.
It'd make more sense if his pain were tied to Bruce not letting people in or trusting people, the coldness inside of him keeping everyone out.
Also, he might be dying.
You ever regretted your life working here? Looking after heroes? No, sir. My only regret is that I was never able to be out there with you.
Batman is the most annoying character in this movie. He's so unenthusiastic and condescending all the time. I feel like he's about to give me a self-help lesson about investing in crypto.
How does her costume get worse every time she appears? So Ivy and Bane show up to bust Freeze out of prison.
They make it all the way back to his hideout, only to find out Batman's beaten them there.
I hate uninvited guests.
So Freeze doesn't like people showing up unannounced, hates it when people talk during movies, and loves puns. I think I'm looking at my new best friend.
All right, everyone, chill.
Batman attempts to stop Robin from falling under Ivy's control, but his partner is simply too horny to be saved. So instead, he dumps him in a vat of acid.
On his deathbed, Alfred gives Barbara a disc containing what he claims are his most important secrets, safeguarded by a truly formidable and well-hidden password.
Access allowed.
And after that arduous amount of hacking, she's rewarded with getting to watch Batman and Robin. Upon reaching the hour-and-a-half mark, we enter the final act of the movie, where Ivy and Freeze commandeer a satellite to try and freeze the entire city.
God, he's such a well-developed character.
Barbara then receives her Batgirl suit, designed of course by her uncle, a costume that also has nipples. Alfred. Uh-oh. Barbara then arrives and takes a life within the first 5 minutes of being Batgirl.
And you are?
Batgirl.
That's not awfully PC. What about bad person or bad woman?
What?
She knows who we are.
Guess we'll just have to kill her.
Yep.
He's not joking. He will kill you. He's done it before.
Tonight's forecast. A freeze.
Shut the fuck up! And the final battle with Freeze basically amounts to Batman slapping the shit out of him, all while accompanied by Arnold Schwarzenegger noises.
Bane, on the other hand, is defeated with a much greater amount of effort.
Let's kick some ice.
Since Freeze has him on the ropes, Batman realizes the only way he can defeat him is by turning his greatest weapon against him.
Hey, Freeze.
The heat is on.
And so they unfreeze everyone, and in the process probably give them some form of super leukemia. Batman then confronts Freeze and tells him the truth about Ivy's treachery.
Kill me too, just as you killed my wife.
I didn't kill your wife.
My vines have a crush on you.
Will you help me?
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Mad Lad got one more in.
And that's where things leave off, with 2 more villains behind bars and with a brand new addition to the Bat family. Oh, and Alfred didn't make it.
So, now that that's over, I bet you're probably wondering what happened after its release. You know, considering all of that.
Well, for one, pretty much all of Warner Bros.' plans for future Batman and DC movies were scrapped, including a Robin spin-off movie, Tim Burton's Superman Lives with Nicolas Cage, its greatest casualty, and the originally planned sequel, Batman Unchained. George Clooney also vowed to never take up the mantle of Batman again, though we all know the real reason is because he knew he could never top his performance in this.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
So yeah, you could say it went pretty well. Everyone on the entire planet has had their turn dumping on this movie, to the point where Joel Schumacher has even had to apologize for it, so I thought it might be a nice change of pace to actually say something nice about it.
No one tries to make a bad movie. I don't think it's a crime to make a bad movie either. This is below average family entertainment. It's not my cup of joe, but it's not harmful. It's not something anyone should be pressured to apologize for.
If I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize, because it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to entertain them.
I never knew him, but I have a huge amount of respect for Joel Schumacher. There are many reasons why, but for one, he defended Alicia Silverstone against the disgusting tabloid body shaming she endured. That deserves a huge amount of respect.
If there's anything I can say about Batman and Robin, it's that I really like the way it looks. The lighting is fantastic and makes nearly every shot so vibrant and colorful. A lot of the sets are really intricately designed too, and it's not like you can say they weren't trying with it.
There's some pretty good ideas in here. Bruce needing to stop trying to control everything and getting pissed when things don't go as planned is a good character arc for him. Batman has always been about control, and he needs to realize he can't control everything. He can't stop death. So dealing with losing his surrogate father should have had a bigger impact throughout, but more importantly, he should have come to accept that outcome and that loss of control. And in that, he accepts that he should trust Robin and Batgirl as his partners. But Alfred being cured at the end, to me, this flies in the face of what this movie was seemingly leading up to.
I am just really not sure what the thought process was behind Mr. Freeze.
For we will be the only 2 people left in the world.
Yes. Adam and evil.
I mean, I love it, but can you imagine if this carried over to other versions of the character? Stay cool, Nora.
Mr. Freeze was definitely not done justice in this movie. He would have been served much better if he had been written more seriously. I think you could have kept Arnold Schwarzenegger in the role. I 100% see why you would cast him as this character. A cold and unfeeling man who just wants the warmth of his wife's heart. Physically imposing and scary. We've seen Arnold do that before. It makes sense to me. But the tone of this character is what's throwing me off. Making ice puns, having sing-alongs, themed henchmen. This is all 60s Batman stuff that I enjoy in their own capacity, but not here. It clashes with what I feel this movie is going for.
Unfortunately, we did lose Mr. Schumacher just last year, but I thought it was worth mentioning his career outside of Batman and Robin. Of the wealth of excellent non-Batman films he made across his lifetime, two of my personal favorites that I highly recommend are Phone Booth and The Lost Boys, both of which are not only totally different from his superhero films, but also from each other.
Thank you, Diamondbolt, for letting me join you on this crusade. I'm glad we took a look at these movies with somewhat of a more constructive lens. You can subscribe to me at youtube.com/Markscaper. I make some videos about stuff from my childhood like Transformers Animated, as well as original content like a comedy series called The Gumshoe Under My Shoe.
Now as for Batman and Robin's predecessor, Batman Forever, we also check that out over on Mark's channel, so be sure to go check that out if you're craving some more bat nipples. Of course, wanted to give a special thank you to Mark for joining me, and a big thank you to all of you for watching.